Hello, and welcome to the first episode of our MekHQ playthrough. We'll be using version 0.50.06, which is the current, at this date and time, the current stable version of the game. If you don't know what MekHQ is, it's the campaign version of MegaMech, and MegaMech is it's an adaptation of the tabletop BattleTech, the classic BattleTech board game. The game of armored combat is used to be called. I think it's just called BattleTech now. It's a game from the 80s, 90s. Actually, it's still going today. As a matter of fact, it's been going for quite a long time. Actually, it's a pretty fun game. Big stompy robots, lots of fun stuff going on. And MechHQ gives you the opportunity to form your own mercenary company, essentially, and take on jobs for the great houses and participate in the kind of constant warfare that's happening in the setting. You make money, you can fail, you can be successful. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So we're going to go ahead and hit New Campaign. There is the option to do a new player start. I would recommend that for most people, unless you already know what you're doing or you have something specific in mind. It will start you off in 3025. And there's a little bit of a tutorial attached to it as well. However, we're going to choose Veteran Player Playset. This is for most MekHQ players. It adds some more options. It doesn't restrict you quite as much in some of the things that you can do. It does the beginner playset or the new player playset kind of has some restrictions built into it to keep it more simple. So we're going to hit Customize because there's a couple of things we want to change here. We are using that rule set. So the first thing we want to change is the start date. 3151, that is the Ill Clan era. We're going to 3042. 3042 sounds okay to me. The War of 39 finished up a while back. The Fourth Succession War is done. We're also going to we're going to change our unit name to Raven Acquisitions. That is the name of the mercenary company that we are currently playing as in our weekly Mech Warrior 2nd Edition RPG over on my Discord. We play weekly. We'll be doing, let's see, unit insignia. I imported the unit insignia in here already. So it's in the, you go into your MekHQ folder, or you go into your MegaMech folders, you go into like the image files, something like that. It's one of the folders, the unit folders, and you can put your own unit in here. This is the one I designed. In unit camouflage, we're going to go for something bright colored. Normally, I kind of like a tactical camouflage, but for the sake of this scenario, I'm going to go with some bright colors so that my unit will stand out, so that mainly for visibility purpose, so that we can see what's going on. That's kind of cool. I don't know where that's Canopian. I just want a bright color that'll stand out to make it easy to see. I don't even know. Miscellaneous. It's a very bright green, very bright orange. Oh gosh, look at all these options. So many to choose from. Purple birds. Oh gosh. Is this really what I'm going to get hung up on? We're going to go for standard camouflage. Oh, you know what? That's looks kind of bright-ish, and it also looks like camouflage, so we're going to stick with that. So now we have our unit insignia, and we have some camouflage. Let's see. We're going to go. There are some things we could change. We could like change different settings. We're not going to worry too much about that. We're going to go here to the digital GM. Don't need to change anything here. We're just going to leave it as is. In fact, we're just going to hit apply settings. We're going to leave everything the same. Welcome to the StratCon. So we have unit management, we have scouting, strategic command, dynamic scenarios, managing victory points, all sorts of good stuff going on here. So proceed. Now I'm going to downsize that so I can do that. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go create a file. I'm going to go to the MekHQ options. And let's see here. Oh, here's the UI scale. I already did. Oh, actually, I already did that. Okay. So the UI, I did crank the UI scale up a little bit so that we can see better on the stream. So everything's a little bit bigger than it would look if you just download the game as is. So we can see, you can see my C bills. You can see all the fact that we have no C bills. We have no technicians. Well, they're called assistant technicians, as techs. No medics. No spare parts. We look into our personnel roster. We have no people. We have no mechs, no tanks, no airplanes, no dropships. We have nothing in our repair bay. So how do you get started? Well, two options. Well, a couple, probably more than two, but these are the two. Here's GM mode. So essentially, this is activate. This lets you take over as the GM temporarily. You can do anything at this point. You can go here to finances. You can, as a GM, add money to your account. You could add 10 million C bills. You could take away money. You can manage your assets. You can add assets. You call it whatever you want. Do all kinds of stuff. In fact, add assets. You income annually. You can like basically um, make it so that you have. Let's pretend that in the game you decided that you've done so well on a planet that your employer will give you the planet. Basically, making you like the lord of the planet or the lady of the planet, and you would have passive income from that. You can basically give yourself like a 1 quadrillion value for owning a planet, and it gives you every year at this point annually. So every annually, it gives you like 5 million C bills, and you can set that up to just feed you money over time. You can get a loan that you have to pay back. However, that's the cool thing about this campaign, by the way, is the GM mode. You can give yourself money, you can give yourself units, you give yourself people. You can automatically pass scenarios, like give yourself successes. It's self-policing. If you really want a more casual experience, you can leave the GM mode on. You can fix your really bad mistakes. If something you really love gets blown up, you can replace it, etc., etc. And if you want a more, um, I wouldn't call this hardcore, but if you want a more, tough experience, a little bit more no save experience, you turn your GM mode off. So how do we get a unit? Right here, you go to your manage campaign. You get a quick start company generator, and it will open up. And what this does is you choose a faction. In this case, we are mercenary. You can generate a unit with this. Sorry, stretch it out there. So we're going to go with one company. One company is 3 lances. In each lance, there are 4 battle mechs. Now, you could have 4 tanks and a lance if you wanted to. You could even increase the number of mechs per lance. You could go up to 6, but we're going to stick with the standard 4. In the inner sphere, which is the universe that we're playing in, the galaxy we're playing in essentially, 4 mechs or 4 tanks or 2 aerospace means 1 lance. 3 of those lances equals a company. There you go. 3 of those companies equals a battalion. 3 of those battalions equals a regiment, plus a little bit extra, but anyhow. So we know we're going to have 4 mechs. So we look over here. These are the personnel we're starting with. We're going to go with 4 mech techs. These are your experts, your technicians who keep your things going. Each mech will have to have a technician assigned to them individually. and they'll do like monthly or weekly maintenance essentially. We also know that we're going to want some vehicles to start out with. So we're going to go ahead and give ourselves 4 mechanics that we're going to hire off the start. And that's probably enough, right? That's probably all we need. We're going to leave everything else the same, except we're going to scroll down here to, these are basically, you will generate spare ammunition, you'll generate extra spare armor in your warehouse essentially. These are the things you need to repair all your stuff with. Now here are your starting funds. This is the number D6s, so in this case 18, that's rolled to determine the random starting funds of your units. So each D6, for every one you roll, so like in this case, on average, you'll roll 63 with 18 dice. That'll be 63 million C-bills you start out with. You can increase that a little bit, you can lower it, you can do whatever you want. However, you're paying for everything this thing's going to generate comes out of that starting cash, comes out of that average of 63 million. And this is the minimum amount that you can start with, essentially. So if your generator spends all the money that you rolled, you'll start out with 3.5 million no matter what. You might end up with a little bit extra if it's a little bit, penny wise with how it spends its money. So let's generate our company. Here we go. These are awards. You will get awards periodically. You'll get them for fighting. You'll get them for kills in the game, I believe. You'll get them for being wounded. You'll get them for the first mission. You'll get them for completing a contract. You'll get them for all kinds of different little things. This basically grants experience to your pilots whenever they get an award, and then you can spend that experience later on once you have enough to increase your skills. So I am going to always issue awards for the most part, unless it's something really weird. So you can see here, down at the bottom left, that we have 8.1 million C-bills. So we either rolled pretty well to generate money, or they generated us some cheaper units than usual. So let's take a look at our hangar. Let's take a look at our TO&E. This is your table of organization and equipment. Here it is. You can see it generated it for us. This is our company. This is your first lance, Abel, Baker, Charlie. This is our unit leader. He's in an awesome, which is actually freaking awesome. His second is Grand Dragon. There's an Ostrak in here. There's a Warhammer. The pilots aren't great, but the mechs are pretty good. In the inner sphere, your average pilot is a 4-5. So he's a 4 gunner and a 5 pilot in terms of skill. So we got a couple pilots who are above average, a couple pilots who are below average. That's fine. Take a look at our Baker Lance. Wow, this Orion pilot, his nickname is Crackpot. Makes sense. He's a 2-3. He's actually really good. He's backed up by a Centurion that's a 5-5, a Vulcan that's a 5-5, and another Centurion that's a 4-5. Again, some good and some bad. And finally, this is our Scout Lance, Charlie Lance. Now, typically, the newest and youngest pilots typically end up in the Scout Lance. They're typically lower skill. Their job is to go out and make contact and then run away. Now, here's something interesting. Our Phoenix Hawk pilot is actually pretty good. He's a 3-4. The Cronus pilot, he's the worst of the bunch. He's a 6-6. And then we have a Wasp, who's a 5-6. And then we have a 5-4 pilot in a Buster hauler mech mod. A Buster, if you've never heard of it, is an industrial mech. It's not a real battle mech in terms of, so we can look at the hangar over here. You can see that it has industrial armor, commercial armor, industrial structure. So essentially, it's going to have less armor. It's going to have weaker structure, like heavier structure that takes up more space. And the weapons are not going to be that great. It basically has an LRM 10 and an AC-5, an autocannon 5, and long range missile 10. For a, is this thing 50 tons? It's 50 tons. For a 50-ton mech, not a lot of weaponry. And how fast is it? Let's see if it shows here. It should show somewhere. There it is. It's a 3.5. So it's slow, not well armed, but it is a mech. It's part of our unit. We probably saved a decent amount of money in purchasing it. You know, we're a mercenary unit. We're operating on a shoestring budget right now. You take what you can get. Now, the first thing we want to do here, we need transports. We need like trucks that can transport cargo for us. Because whenever you get to your jobs, your employer will occasionally offer you some cargo. They're like, hey, we have a little bit extra armor laying around. We have a little bit extra weapons laying around. Do you want to buy them? And you say yes. They say, okay, well, you need a bit of transport 20 tons worth of stuff. Can you do that? And you have to say yes or no. And if you can, there's a chance that they'll sell it to you. And sometimes they'll sell it to you for cheaper than market price. It's essentially a way to get to refill your warehouses, hopefully on the cheap, but definitely an instant refill if you can get it done. One of the interesting things here is we're going to go to the marketplace, and I'll show you right now. We're going to purchase a unit. Well, we'll check the unit market first. Lots of stuff for sale. We're going to sort by, actually, it's already sorted. So it's sorted here initially by open market, mercenary auctions. So your open market is the public sale of units in your campaign faction. So open market is my campaign faction is mercenary. So basically other mercs selling things. Same thing for the mercenary auctions, although they tend to be cheaper. The black market is cheaper still. You can see these are 50% off on a Wolverine, 60% off on these two Centurions. However, there's a chance that when you pay the money, you don't get the unit. Your money just goes away and you never get what you paid for. We don't see any transports in here. You can see a hover APC. You can look at the stats here. It says it carries infantry, not cargo. So we're going to hit cancel. We're going up to the unit, nope, purchase unit. We're going to go with tanks, all weight classes. I'm going to choose truck. We're going to go with the flatbed truck here. Oops. And you can see that it carries 6 tons of cargo. Not a whole lot, but we will purchase a couple of these. And this is where the supplies that your employers give you is important, because you can see down here where it says buy, it says target number -1, TN -1 essentially. If you look and you hold over this, it gives you a little bit of a calculation. The person who's trying to acquire it, it has elite skill. So our logistics person has an elite skill. So it's a base of 3 to get it. It's a vehicle, which means they're more common, so it's a -1 on the difficulty. It's lightweight, which means it's even, light's very common, medium is probably average, heavier is hard to find, assault's hard to find. And then availability, it's very common. It's a flatbed truck. So it's basically -1 to find on 2 dice. You're always going to find one. So we're going to buy 1, 2 of those. And then we want to get prime. We're going to go to non-box set, and you'll see the difference here. There's a original prime mover and a succession wars prime movers. Check out the original. It carries 20 tons. The succession wars carries 20 tons. We're going to go for the cheaper one. We're going to go for the cheaper ones. We're going to buy 1, 2. You can see that the target numbers changes because it's a medium support and it's harder to find. If you look over here, you'll see that we are failing to find a couple of things here, but they will get to it eventually. Maybe I was a little bit wrong with the target number thing. I'm not entirely sure. I felt like I was, but we'll see. So we have ordered a couple of, we've ordered 4 essentially transport vehicles to get us going. We have our table of organization and equipment going. We've taken a look at our equipment, our mechs. Our personnel, you can see that we have an elite logistical officer here. That's why we're able to find things a lot easier. And then we have our roster of pilots. Now, we said that our commander, here he is. This is our commander. This is our unit leader, essentially. This is kind of us. So I'm going to go into GM mode. I'm going to edit this person. We're going to call him Hiroshi Tanaka, which is the name of my character in our Mech Warrior game. I'm going to get a drink of water here. My throat's getting a little bit dry. And his nickname is Odin. His nickname is Odin. Because who else would be in charge of a bunch of ravens, right? His birth date, he's 26 years old. That's about right. We can actually make him a little bit younger. There we go. He'll be 23 years old. He is from Port Arthur originally in the Draconis Combine. And in the tabletop version of this character, he was originally an infantryman who basically found himself in the role of a mech warrior. So I'm going to give him some small arms skill. He's actually pretty good with small arms. And these are role-playing skills, so none of this really matters. I'd like to go through and give him some at some point, but not really necessary. They're just role-playing. They don't actually have a connection here in the game. He has connections 1, interestingly enough. In the tabletop version, he has toughness 1. And connections, I'm not sure what that does, but we'll leave it. We'll leave it. And he went to school in an academy, which is kind of like college. He went to like a military academy. So we're going to say okay to him. We're going to, where is his change portrait? We're going to make him look a little bit different. That was sort of Tanaka-ish, maybe. I don't know. Lots of options here. This is probably a little bit closer. Not quite. Hang on, let's try that one more time. Change portrait. This perhaps? No. All right. Let's just take a look. You know, this is our really the only character we care a whole lot about, although we'll probably get, attached to other characters along the way if they're any good. This is probably fine. Yeah, that's fine. That'll do. And you can see here that one of these characters is highlighted in green. That means she's currently pregnant. So it's sort of like if you ever played Dwarf Fortress or Manor Lords or anything of the sort, where you have uh, characters who mingle with each other. So they'll get married over time. They'll have children over time. The children will eventually grow up and become their own personality. And I think we're pretty much set. So what do we do now? We have our units. We have our people. We can go over here. We can check out all the things that are happening. It's kind of like a running log of the thing that's happening. We're going to go to Marketplace. We're going to go to the Personnel Market. We're going to see who wants a job on this planet. And you can actually look for specific types of people by paying a fee. You can boost the number of applicants by basically paying like a recruiting fee or whatever. So as it turns out, this is an elite Aztec, otherwise it's an assistant technician, otherwise known as Aztecs in the BattleTech world. We're going to hire them. That's actually really good. You can see here that their Aztec skill is 1, which is good. The lower the skill, the better, because that's your target number basically before any difficulty modifiers are added on. So we're going to hire them. There is a veteran mech warrior who's actually quite good. She is a 3-4, so 3 gunnery, 4 piloting. We're going to hire her. This guy, not so good. And this is a soldier. We're going to leave her as she is. She's regular, but we don't have any infantry to put her into that squad. So we're going to close that. We're going over to the hangar, and we're going to take a look at the Pleione first. So it really looks like Baker Squad could use some help here. They're pretty lacking. You know what? We're going to put our veteran in the Cronus. So we're going to go to the unit in the hangar. Actually, we need to go to personnel. So that's the Cronus pilot. That is Sergeant Takiji Nebula. So we're going to look for Sergeant. There he is in the Cronus. We're going to how does this work? Is it in the hangar, I think? Here it is. I think it's in the hangar. Assigned person, unassign the crew, and then we assign a new pilot. We'll give him, this will be Nicole, will be in charge of that. And then we need to reassign the technician, which will be whichever person, there it is, the one that has all the free time. So you can see that a lot of these people have 200 and some minutes. Some of them had like 100 and some. There we go. So each week, apparently, they go through every week or every 2 weeks. All of these technicians, they have to do roles to maintain the equipment, and that uses up minutes of their time. So when it comes time to do repairs and things like that, they have less time to work on it and do the job. And let's see here. This is a new month. So we get to check out the unit market. So the unit market updates every month. Every first of the month, you get a new unit market to check out. Even if we wanted to buy anything, we can't really afford to do so because travel is expensive. So we've checked out the personnel market. We've checked out the unit market. What do we check out now? The contract market. These are our missions. These are jobs we can do. And there will be wow, really? 17. There's a garrison job for 17 months working for the Draconis Combine against the Federated Commonwealth. Unfortunately, there's 0 salvage involved. So the way you make money in this game, a lot of ways you make money as a professional mercenary is through salvage. That means here in this case, Free Worlds League working against the Federated Commonwealth. It's an objective raid. It takes 53 days to get there, and it'll last for 3 months. 70% salvage. Typically, 70% salvage, whatever you can kill, whatever you can knock down, and you control the battlefield afterwards, you can keep 70% of it. So if you knock down 10 mechs, you keep 7 of them, roughly, right? But with exchange, you don't get the actual unit. Your employer takes it and they pay you a bounty based on the value of what you knock down. So if you knock down something worth 10 million, you'll get 7. So typically you do want to get actual salvage, not exchange salvage. But 70% is pretty darn good. the estimated profit from these missions is displayed here. If I can somehow get it to actually show. So the estimated profit from this mission is about 2.5 million sea bills. Some of these other missions, you would probably lose money taking them, if nothing else, because they're further away. So it takes time to get there. So you're spending money to maintain your unit the whole way, and also you have to pay for your ride. It's expensive to travel. However, you can modify your contract. You can negotiate with your commanders essentially. So, for example, if I wanted to negotiate this contract, I could click this, and there's a chance, depending on how well I roll, that the salvage rights go up for the mission. So, what we're going to do is we're looking at this contract pretty good. I do like this contract. The support and the transport terms are kind of crappy, but we can attempt to negotiate those. So we're going to attempt to negotiate the transport terms. Hopefully, they'll pay more of our transport fees in getting there. Nice, they paid us an extra 5%. We're going to leave the salvage rights as is. I don't want to risk it going down, but we will try to ask for more support. It went down to 0. Okay, so we failed in that negotiation there. But we did increase the transport terms by 5%, which is probably the better of the two. I do like this mission, so we are going to accept it. And it says the estimated profit is 2.5 million. That's based off of how much they're paying us, which is contract pay. They're paying us 11.7 million for the entire contract. The base amount is set 4.2. They're paying for some of the transportation. So if we close this, it's 2.1. I don't know if it's already calculated, but we will close. We'll reopen. And you can see that we went from 2.5 up to 2.7 because they increased the, I don't know, maybe that didn't update over here, but it updated down here when I clicked it. I don't know. Either way, but you can see that we are making about 200,000 more based off that 5% of the transport terms, and we get a lot of math here, whatnot. We do get some advance money, so we'll be pretty good there. And we have 7.3 million in transport expenses to get from where we are to get there and back, if we want to come back. So we're going to accept the mission. Hit accept, and now this pops up here. So this is the resupply convoys that we were talking about. We're going to need 16 tons worth of cargo space in order to do that in the end. But we have it on the way with the trucks that we ordered. So we're going to hit understood. And then this will basically let us mothball all of our units. We're basically putting them into cold storage for the journey. So this will reduce our costs during travel. So we're going to accept that. We're going to let them do that. You can go through and manually do that yourself. So our target system is Pleione, I think, Pleione. And the route has been calculated for us. It's going to take 53 days at the cost of about 1 million sea bills. We will accept this route and begin transit. So we can close out the contract. You can see we've jumped from 8 point something up to 11 million in sea bills in our funding because we got an advance. Now we can go here to the interstellar map. We started here on Galatea. This is the mercenary star. This is like the hub for mercenaries in this era. You can see here that the Federated Commonwealth has been formed. These gold, yellow areas here. This is the Federated Commonwealth. Very cool. And we will be fighting against the Federated Commonwealth on their territory on behalf of the Free Worlds League, which is this purple faction here. So they have us doing a objective raid. So we're kind of dropping in and doing a strike. So we're going to go to the interstellar map. They said it will take 53 days to get there. We can go up here to advance multiple days. We can choose 50. We can put in 53 days if we want to, but instead we're going to go with new week, which will get us to the next Monday. Okay. So there's a backlog in administration. So we need to hire a new HR member of the team for the admins. We have more people than the HR can handle. We have one HR. Yep, we have 35 people. We can only handle 20, however. But we're gonna turn off geo mode. We're gonna advance a day. We're gonna continue as ordered. We're gonna advance another day to Monday. I better take a look. Hang on, this is where the personnel market actually matters. We can go for administrator, HR, and this should almost guarantee that we get a chance to hire one. So we're going to advance a day, continue as ordered. We didn't get one, did we? Okay, well, we will take another logistical officer. That'll help us when we have to order a bunch of stuff at one time. We're going to advance the next week. We're just trying to get to Monday. Here we go. Personnel market has been updated. There's an HR. All right, let's hire them. We'll go back to regular hiring practices, close it out, and then we will advance another week. The personnel market has updated again. Let's take a look at it. Anything new? Not really. There's a regular mech warrior here. You know what? We're gonna hire her. She can be a nice backup pilot for someone here that we can't actually look at our mechs right now. They are currently mothballed, but she can make a good backup pilot for one of these other mech warriors who are green or whatever, or just flat out replace them until they can get better. And then we're going to check out the interstellar map, and we're going to advance actually up to the next month. Here we go. There's an award issued, and the unit market has been updated. Anything in here we can afford? Not really. We're still at 9.3 million, and as you can see, purchasing one mech can really drain your funding, especially when you're traveling like this. Personnel. Oh, there's a veteran mech warrior. We'll hire them. Close. Okay, we will advance another week. Another week. Oops. And another week. All right, so we are in the target system. This is where we're supposed to be. You can see in the top left here, we are in Pleione. We are 1.6 days away from the planet, so we have to advance a day, and we have landed. We are now on planet, and that's where we're going to end this first episode. We have arrived on the planet. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're still watching. If you are still watching, I appreciate you so much. I will catch you next time in the very next episode. Bye-bye.